Good evening and welcome to another exciting action-packed episode of The Pain War. I'm Max Payne, and this, my friends, is an evening I promise you won't forget. So I think all the time, what's a story I could tell you that was fun, exciting, and involves a lot of other crazy fuckers? Well, I got one for you. When I went to Germany for the first time, I was fortunate. I had a lot of great people that I met and became friends with, and there were a lot of people. Tony St. Clair, Mick McMichaels, the Colonel. I met Joe Cruz there. I met Johnny Smith there. I met Finley there. I met Tony St. Clair there. If I already said Tony, forgive me. And of course, Otto Wanz. And the way Germany's professional wrestling works is much different than America. America, different night, every night. Different city, different town, different venue. The Germans are a little different. The Germans are much more inclined to find an event where it gives them a reason to drink beer. Like they need a reason, but they just come to the same place all the time. And in every town in Germany, there's a place called a Schützenplatz. And a Schützenplatz is a big area where, since the inventions of guns, literally, Germans shared target practice and shooting at the Schützenplatz. So eventually it became the place for all festivals, Oktoberfest, and the list goes on and on and on. And professional wrestling happens to be one of those things that ends up being a full-time Schützenfest. Build a tent and wrestle in it for 2 months every night, and people will show up and drink beer in your name and throw money at you, not literally, but, buy your shirts, buy food in the tent, and pay ticket price to get in. So we are now in Hanover, Germany. And Fit and his wife Manuela one night asked Cruz and I if we wanted to go to the bar with them. And there was a bar just up the street, very close by, half a mile. We drove there, and I was already pretty infamous for this, or not infamous, pretty notorious for this is a better word. I was very notorious for not drinking and standing in the background and watching drinking taking place, usually with some kind of accoutrement in my system, a chemical accoutrement, Valium, something along that lines. Not a big alcohol guy. And there's not a lot of weed in Germany. So at the time, at least I didn't know yet there was, or didn't think there was. And so anyway, Cruz and I and Finley and his wife go out to a bar. Now, if you know Dave Finley, if you know anything about Dave Finley, most of what I'm going to tell you is just sort of savoir-faire of himself. And so we go to the bar, and on this night, I remember it so distinctly. I'm standing in the corner watching all my friends getting drunk and chicks hitting on them, and I was really, honestly, I have to tell you, those are the moments from an author's standpoint. I stood in the back and watched and tried to collect the feelings and the energy that was going on in the room that night. And in the room that night, Fit is pretty notorious for not putting up with any shit from asshole wrestling fans. And unfortunately, Germans, when they start drinking and you spend a lot of time next to them, they can get very assholish. And Fit is notorious for doing things to fans. One of his favorite things to do to a fan was break their thumb. I know you're saying, oh my God, but trust me, he never broke a thumb. They didn't deserve it. I'd like to believe that anyway. The other thing he would do is he'd always bet people that he could hold his hand over a candle longer than they could. And I've watched this occur many a time. And in this particular evening, he didn't employ that one. And his last favorite thing to do is, depending on the wardrobe of the other person, if they're wearing a tie, when they're not paying attention, he would grab their tie and smash their face into the bar. On this particular evening, this guy was hitting on his wife right in front of all of us. And all of a sudden, I was watching and didn't see it happen. This guy's nose is bleeding profusely, and he's standing in the middle of the bar going, "What happened? I don't understand." And blood is gushing out of his nose. And I looked at Fit and I said, "What happened?" And he looked at me and went, "Sure." So, this guy is so drunk that they give him a couple napkins. He covers his nose and wanders off. We all laughed because then Fit told me the story, what he'd done. The guy was being a complete jerk to his wife. And so, in true Fit fashion, he realized it was time for him to go. And he smashed his face into the bar with this guy's tie. Joe Cruz was standing next to Fit. Joe Cruz was standing next to Fit when this all went down. And the guy kept staring at Joe Cruz. And I thought, wow, that was weird. All of a sudden, the guy returns with a big blood ring around his face right here where he's obviously been nosebleeding. And 2 German Polizei. That's police officers for anyone who's confused. And they walk in, and they look right at Joe Cruz, and they look at the guy, and they say, "Is this the guy?" And the guy says, "Yes, that's the guy." The cops grab Cruz and say, "Come with me," and just like that are hauling him out of the bar. We're all going, "Whoa, whoa, 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 you got this wrong." And they walk him out of the bar, and he gets to the car, and Cruz said to the guy, "I don't know why you think I hit you," in front of the cops. So now here's a cop car, like right here. Here's another cop car, right here. And here's Cruz, and here's the cops, and all of a sudden, Dave Finley starts moving through the crowd. And the guy points at Cruz, talks to the guy says, "Yup, that's the dude," and the cop says, "You're going to jail." And Cruz said, "I did not do this." And the cop says, "I don't care, you're going to jail." So Fit, being the man he is, and Fit is has incredible integrity. Anybody who knows him will tell you that. I love Fit Finley. I'll tell you another story about him on another day, a gift he gave me and I still carry with me, and it means the world to me. That's a story for a different day. But Fit and I had a wonderful relationship. I love this guy with all of my heart, and I still love him very much. I wish maybe someday we can figure out why all of the English guys completely abandoned me. Doesn't really matter, but here's the deal. Fit feels so terrible, they're getting Cruz ready to put the cuffs on him, and Fit walks up to the cop, taps him on the shoulder, and he says, "Officer, listen, I have something to tell you. Joe Cruz did not hit that guy. I hit that guy." And the cop looks at Fit and says, "You hit that guy?" And Fit says, "Yeah." And he looks at Cruz. Cruz is 270 pounds. And he looks at Fit, who's 220 pounds, and not half a foot shorter. Fit doesn't mean Fit's not a badass. It just means Cruz obviously a really big guy. And the cop looks at Fit, and he looks at Cruz, and he says, "I don't believe you. You're going to jail." To Cruz. And we're all going, "Oh my God." And all of a sudden, BAM! 2 guys from the bar standing there listening to the story, God bless them, fight right on top of the car of the cop and break his windshield. If you don't think that shoes can fly, you're wrong, because Cruz and I were back at the Schützenplatz within about 3 minutes. As soon as the cop's attention was drawn away by the now fight on top of their car and broken windshield, we wasted no time in taking a powder. So that's my favorite Hanover, Germany, Otto Vaughn's drunk story. Of course, don't forget to do all the things. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment. Hey, comment. Tell me stories. Bring me anything. I'd love to answer it. And of course, don't forget the hidden. I love you very much. Thanks for being a part of the Pain Lair. And until the next time on the Pain Lair, I'm Max Payne. Ben.